Attack on Titan, the most popular anime of the decade, groundbreaking animation, epic storytelling, millions of fans worldwide, but behind every frame of Eren's transformation, behind every shot of the Survey Corps flying through the air, there were animators working until dawn, animators who couldn't speak up, animators who were told their suffering was just part of the job, and one of them finally broke their silence. Today, we're talking about the dark reality behind Attack on Titan's production. This isn't about hating on MAPPA or boycotting anime. This is about understanding the human cost of the entertainment we love. And fair warning, after watching this, you might never look at anime the same way again. Drop a comment right now. Did you know about these working conditions before clicking on this video? Let's see how many people are aware of what's really happening. Let's dive in. In 2021, an ex-animator who worked on Attack on Titan Season 4 under the username Mushio came forward with detailed accounts of their experience at MAPPA. Now, before we go further, let's be clear about who we're talking about. This wasn't some random person making accusations on the internet. This was someone who worked directly on one of the biggest anime productions in recent history. Someone who signed NDAs, someone who had everything to lose by speaking out, and they spoke out anyway. Mushio described MAPPA not as an animation studio, but as a factory. And I want you to really think about that word, factory. Not a creative space, not a collaborative environment, a factory, where the product matters more than the people making it. Here's what a typical day looked like according to Mushio. You arrive at the studio in the morning, you're given scenes to animate or correct, but here's the thing, you're not given proper time to do quality work. You're given deadlines that are physically impossible to meet with the level of detail Attack on Titan demands. So what happens? You work, and you keep working through lunch, through dinner, into the night, and sometimes you're there until dawn trying to fix mistakes or finish scenes because the schedule doesn't care about human limitations. And the worst part? This wasn't an exception. This was the norm. Mushio reported that 80% of the staff had the same complaints. 80%. That's not a few disgruntled employees. That's a systematic problem. But when these complaints were brought up to management, what happened? Nothing. Radio silence. Because MAPPA had bigger concerns than employee well-being. They had 4 major anime productions running simultaneously. Let that sink in for a second. 4 major productions at the same time. Attack on Titan Final Season, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Hell's Paradise. All of these are massive projects that require enormous resources, talented staff, and most importantly, time. But MAPPA took them all on at once. Now, why would a studio do this? Simple. Money and prestige. Landing these huge contracts means massive revenue and industry clout. But there's a problem. You need people to actually make these shows. Talented people, experienced people, and there aren't enough of them to go around. So what does MAPPA do? They hire less experienced animators, people who are just starting out, people who are desperate to break into the industry. And here's where it gets really ugly. According to Mushio, there was minimal training. You weren't taught how to improve your skills, you weren't mentored by veterans, you were just thrown into the deep end and told to fix your mistakes. Imagine being a young animator, fresh in the industry, working on Attack on Titan. That should be a dream come true, right? But instead, you're drowning, you're making mistakes because you don't have proper training, and instead of being taught, you're just told to work longer hours to correct those mistakes. It's not education, it's exploitation. And if you tried to speak up about it publicly, well, that's where the NDAs come in. MAPPA required employees to sign non-disclosure agreements. Now, NDAs are normal in the entertainment industry. You don't want spoilers leaking. You don't want proprietary techniques being shared. That makes sense. But these NDAs also effectively silenced workers from talking about their working conditions. You can't go public with complaints when you've signed a legal document that could ruin your career if you break it. So animators suffered in silence until some of them couldn't take it anymore. Several MAPPA animators started posting on Twitter about the conditions, vague posts, careful posts, but posts that hinted at the reality behind the scenes. And you know what happened? Those tweets got deleted, whether by the animators themselves out of fear or by pressure from the studio, we don't know for certain. But the message was clear. Don't talk about this publicly. Let me put some numbers into perspective here. The average anime episode takes around 3 to 4 months to produce properly. That's with a healthy schedule, adequate staff, and reasonable expectations. Attack on Titan final season episodes were reportedly given half that time, maybe less for some episodes, and it shows. If you go back and watch season 4, part 1, there are moments where the animation quality noticeably drops. Scenes that should be fluid become choppy, character designs go off model, CGI is used in places where traditional animation would have looked better, and fans noticed. Oh boy, did fans notice. Which brings us to one of the most heartbreaking parts of the story, the fan reaction. When Attack on Titan Season 4 first aired, there was immediate backlash about the animation quality. Fans compared it unfavorably to Wit Studios' work on the previous seasons. They complained about the CGI Titans. They made memes about off-model characters, and then they took to Twitter to harass the animators. Individual animators received hate messages, death threats, people telling them they ruined Attack on Titan, that they should quit the industry. These messages went to the same people who had just worked 16-hour days trying to meet impossible deadlines, the same people who were being exploited by the studio. The same people who loved Attack on Titan as much as the fans did and were doing everything humanly possible to do it justice. And they were being told they weren't good enough. Here's the thing most fans didn't understand. When animation quality drops, it's almost never the animator's fault. It's a management problem. It's a scheduling problem. It's a resource allocation problem. The animators aren't sitting around being lazy. They're working themselves to exhaustion, trying to deliver quality work with inadequate time and support. But fans don't see that. They just see the final product and assume someone didn't care enough. This disconnect between fan expectations and industry reality is one of the biggest problems in anime today. So why do studios keep doing this? Why does MAPPA and studios like them continue to take on more projects than they can handle and overwork their staff? Because they can. The anime industry has a nearly infinite supply of young, passionate people who dream of working in animation. People who grew up watching anime and want to be part of creating the next generation of shows, and studios exploit that passion. They know that even if they burn out one group of animators, there's another group of starry-eyed newcomers ready to take their place. The system is designed to churn through people, and it works because we, the audience, keep demanding more content, more episodes, faster releases, no delays. We want our favorite manga adapted immediately. We want multiple seasons announced right away. We create the demand that leads to this exploitation. Now, before you think I'm blaming fans for everything, I'm not. The responsibility ultimately lies with studio management and the production committees that fund these shows. They're the ones making the decision to accept unrealistic schedules for profit. But we're not powerless in this situation either. So what can we actually do about it? First, educate yourself. Understand how anime production works. Learn about the challenges animators face. Follow animators on social media when they're willing to share their experiences. Second, adjust your expectations. When you hear an anime is getting adapted, don't immediately demand that it comes out next season. Understand that quality takes time. Be patient. Third, Support animators directly when possible. Some animators have Patreon accounts or sell their work. If you can afford it, support them. It's not a solution to systemic problems, but it helps. Fourth, and this is important, stop harassing animators on social media. If you don't like how an anime looks, direct your criticism at the studio and production committee, not the individual artist. Better yet, don't send hate at all. Just don't watch if you're not satisfied. Fifth, support studios that treat their employees well. This is harder because studios don't usually advertise their working conditions. But when you hear positive things about a studio's culture like Kyoto Animation, support their work. And finally, have conversations like this one. Talk about these issues. Share videos and articles about working conditions. The more awareness there is, the more pressure there is for change. Because here's the reality. The current system is unsustainable. Burnout rates in the anime industry are astronomical. Talented people are leaving because they can't survive on the wages and can't handle the hours. If nothing changes, the quality of anime overall will decline. Not because animators aren't talented, but because the talented ones will find other careers where they're treated like human beings. Attack on Titan is an incredible story about fighting against oppressive systems, about people standing up against those who exploit them, about freedom and humanity. The irony that it was created under oppressive working conditions isn't lost on anyone. Mushio and the other animators who've spoken up aren't trying to ruin anime. They're not trying to tear down MAPPA. They're trying to make the industry better. They're trying to create a world where passionate artists can make the anime we love without sacrificing their health, their relationships, and their well-being. And that's something we should all support. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you watch Attack on Titan, or any anime really, take a moment to think about the people who made it. Think about the hours they put in. Think about the sacrifices they made, and ask yourself, is there anything I can do to make their situation better? Because loving anime means caring about the people who create it. Quick recap. An ex-MAPPA animator revealed the harsh working conditions behind Attack on Titan Season 4. Impossible deadlines, minimal support, 80% of staff with the same complaints, and NDAs preventing them from speaking out. Fans unknowingly made it worse by harassing animators for quality issues that were management's fault. The system exploits passionate young artists, and it needs to change. Now it's your turn. What did you think about these revelations? Does it change how you view Attack on Titan or MAPPA's other shows? Do you think fans have a responsibility to push for better working conditions? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's have a real conversation about this. If this video opened your eyes to something you didn't know before, hit that like button, share it with other anime fans, subscribe for more content about the anime industry, not just the shows themselves. Thanks for watching. And remember, behind every anime you love, there are real people who deserve to be treated with dignity. See you in the next one.